Ah, A not. I see you. L, I see you as well. Ah, KZ. Good morning. Grand rising, rich rising. Whichever way you want to say it. Well, we, ho ho ho, Matthias, we shall begin in a moment, in a very quick moment.
Are you are you still taking questions for tomorrow?
Yes, I most certainly am. You know, I condensed a lot of the questions because they were the same. So I have room. Yeah.
Okay, great. I'll send you one for
Excellent. Yeah, you
today.
can slide into any DM you want. Because you're on here, you can send it here, and I'm just compiling them for the morning. Um, yeah, that's Zola. Yes, that's what I'll be doing. Ah, Thai Talks, Muck 45. Alrighty then, let us begin. Take back your power. Why is this so critical? Because it doesn't matter what you've given your power to, and how do you give your power to something? You give your power to something on the outside of yourself when you say, I need this can save me, right? So, what's the difference between the law and giving your power away? The law doesn't ask you for your power, the law empowers because it is already within you. But when you look around and you say, oh, I need my government, I need this deck of cards, I need whatever it is that you say you need and it's going to save you, you've given your power to it. And because you give your power voluntarily, oh, it will be used. Think about power. Think about it. Once you give it away, it's a little tricky to get it back because nobody wants to relinquish their power, right? That's because they have a false sense of what power is. They think power is something like a big stick or a big sword to wield, when in actuality, power is your strength, it is your will to change your own life. That is what your power is. And you see, when you give that away, you now are left in a position where you are no longer sovereign and you cannot change your own life. Neville Goddard said, he goes, anything you give your power to. He's like, why do we do that? Because we think. And why do we think it? Why do we think that we are powerless? That's what makes you give it away, is to think and believe that you have no power, right? And that is not the case. You have the power to think and to speak and to call those things that are not as though they were. You have that capability. But when you say things like, oh, I cannot, or I don't know what to do, I'm going to find somebody to do it for me. Oh, I'm famous for that. Because I don't like marketing. Uh, and then I had to learn how to use a new thing, two new things, and I'm like, ugh, screen recorder. And, I dug my heels in. My bestie's like, we can stay here all day, or you can do what I tell you. Right? She's teaching me how to empower myself when it comes to doing this work of marketing, of getting this stuff out. She said, nobody's going to come along and do it for you. You must do it on your own. Learn how to do it. And so here we are. I had to learn how to do it. Instead of saying, I need somebody. Oh, rescue me. It is from that place of no-science, meaning you don't have all the information. It is from that place that we so willingly um, relinquish our power. Willingly we do it under the guise of I cannot. So, what is it today that you think you cannot do? Why do you feel stuck there? Then you know. You get out your piece of paper and your pencil, and whichever side you choose, left or right. I like the left because left is movement, right? And I write down where I'm at right now. And I say I'm scared because I don't know how to do this and I don't want to get laughed at, right? And then I say, well, where do I want to be? Bold. That's where I want to be, bold. So what do I need to do? But the funny thing is this: the minute you turn your attention to boldness, you begin to change. Let me tell you, let me be vulnerable with you. I was having a heck of a time yesterday. I was sitting here and I was thinking of my dad. I was thinking of him and then listening to music because I was baking a Sonia. I was making a pudding. hmm And I was thinking of my dad, listening to music. And I said, I wonder what he's doing. 5 minutes later, my phone rings. My father calls me to see how I'm doing. And of course, I'm standoffish and indifferent because, our bodies have memories of how they were treated, yes? And let me tell you, it took me for six. And I take you for six as a cricket term. You've been out. It just knocked me out because the feeling of that memory was so potent. Because it was cumulative. It didn't happen just yesterday. It had been happening my whole life. And after that conversation, you know, I was telling somebody else about it because you know how we like to do, right? And I said to myself, look, I don't want this feeling anymore. Bring me a feeling of acceptance. Because the feeling I had was one of rejection, and I wanted to go from rejection to acceptance. And the mood lifted. It did. But then somebody messaged me and said, hey, are you over on this app right now? I was like, no, I'm sitting here doing some work. And they said to me, listen, I know that that's you. So I go over to the app. And sure enough, it is my voice. And I was like, wait, what? Turns out they were listening to a book that I had narrated. And now, first of all, I was like, this is weird to hear yourself in a completely different space. And finally, they were talking, and I said, I'm going to go in there and I'm not going to say who I am. I'm just going to, say hello. So I go in and I say hi, and they were talking, and then somebody said, funny, we think you sound like the narrator. And I was like, that's because I am the narrator. Let me tell you something. That room absolutely erupted. And I had never felt such acceptance I come here every day, and you guys always make me feel accepted. You bring up that feeling of acceptance that I can always draw from, right? And now I have one more. So when I tell you, when you command your body to do something for you, it will do it. I didn't like how I felt, right? I did not like that feeling of, oh, nobody cares about me, because if your family doesn't care, who else is going to? And that was the feeling I had. Like literally, it was like this boulder And I said, this will not do. And so I just said to my body, bring me that feeling of acceptance. So now I have another moment of acceptance that I can draw from anytime I feel like I'm going to struggle with rejection. So you see, sometimes we think it is just for things, things, money, relationships, cars. We think we use the law for just things. The law is there to remind us of the truth, which is you are magnificent. And if you would but take your power back, you would see your own magnificence. You just would. This is so important for us because we walk around on a daily basis. What if they don't like me? What if they don't appreciate? What if they don't accept? And remember, that is the law of gender. You are projecting that outward. And you are projecting it outward into the womb of the minds of whomever you come across. Even though you think you're not saying a word, you're silent, but you could be on the bus and you start feeling inadequate. You're projecting that outward. Well, as within, so without. Right? Take that power back, which means, and it is also an energy, you understand. It is your energy, it is your chi, your life force that you are projecting outward. And because you are projecting it outward without a return, at least without a good return, you're projecting it outward. You are giving away your virtue, your essence. Don't do that. If you are going to think about yourself and speak to yourself, let it be one of edification. Even though we may struggle, we are simply struggling with memories. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against powers and principalities in high places. That has more than one definition. That power in a high place is your thought and those memories that are stored in your body. We wrestle against those on a daily basis. So when it comes up, because they do, when it comes up, the more times that you retrain or recondition the body in the direction you want it to go in, the sooner that memory simply fades into the background. It never leaves you unless good old Alzheimer's, right? It never leaves you unless that happens to erase the memories. But when it happens, catch yourself and be diligent. Be diligent to tell your body, fetch me this feeling in my body because that's what I want. That's what you tell it. Let's take a moment to practice it now. What kind of feeling would you like to have in your body? What kind of sensation? I'm going to start using that word for us instead. Sensation, because it is visceral. You get to feel it in your body. You know what I mean? What would you like to feel this morning? A sense of relief? A sense of freedom? That is also relief. What would you like to feel? And you tell your body, hey, bring me this feeling. See if you can do it right now. Conjure up that sensation in your body and sit with it. Only conjure up a sensation that is of a benefit. Courage, peace of mind. That memory, bring that up. and hold it there. Just hold your focus on that feeling, that sensation in your body. The chest is open. The jaw is relaxed. The fingers are relaxed. The belly is also relaxed. Take your time and allow that sensation to permeate your body. That sigh of relief. Good. Right? Now, just come back to yourself after you've had that sensation in your body. See how many times throughout the day you can conjure up that sensation, and how long can you sustain it. That is the exercise that we practice. Ah, ray of sunshine. But you see, take that time to practice. And the actual effect when it does, when you do practice that, what you are doing, you are using the 7 principles, the 7 laws. You've generated a thought, because it's the law of mentalism, yes? And the thought inside your mind matches the sensation in your body. And that vibration of the sensation in your body is elevated. Now, whatever you come into contact with is going to be of a higher vibration. And polarity. Now you've polarized yourself on that particular vibration. And now you're creating a rhythm. You are, whenever you catch yourself in the old behavior, you take yourself from to the swing of the pendulum, the rhythm, yes? And you recognize the cause of that visceral change, sensation in your body is from the thought. And you've just learned how to be masculine, how to project that thought from the left side of the brain, which is masculine, to the right side of the brain, which is feminine. And your body responded. That is what you are doing. That is taking your power back, not allowing your emotions to rule you. Remember, you choose your emotion, cause and effect. If you don't know the cause, but you know the effect is relief, well then, send your body on that mission to pick it up, to get it, to bring it to you. Cause and effect. You don't need to be ruled by emotions. You choose them. Because the emotions are an effect. You can predict the effect as per the law tells you. If you know the cause, you can predict the effect. I trust that makes sense. Let us take a moment to acknowledge the people in the space. Let us start with YouTube this morning, Ray of Sunshine. Thank you for being here. Ultra, but look who's in the space, y'all. The birthday girl. Make sure and send her some birthday love. There is a community post on the YouTube tab for her today. Happy birthday, Tracy. It is a pleasure to be in your presence today, birthday girl. A day of remembrance and acceptance for you. David, I see you. Miss Sonia. Sinovia. Oracle Treehouse. And Anot. That's everybody in the YouTube space. Well, in the chat. For those who haven't acknowledged their presence, let me say hello to you. Or I should say identify themselves. Let me acknowledge your presence. Twitter. Reggie. Girl, it's been a long time. It's good to see you again. Ty Talks, Muck 45. Jeff, a pleasure. Beep. Luke. Shea Butter. Master yourself. And Dre. Hello. I don't think I've ever said your name before. Welcome to the space. Fan base. Malik, L, KZ, Zola, Matthias, Miss McQueen, My Melanin, Zarian, Miss Ravioli, and Krista. Welcome to the space, everybody. So today, as you go about your day, remember to take your power back. Take it back, which means you guide those thoughts that you are having. And if you should come upon one that is unsavory, undesirable, because we have memories, right? Memories don't let me start this morning. Right? Take your power back. And you take it back by way of law of gender. What are you projecting outward? It is your essence, your energy, your will. You're putting it out there. Let it be a projection that brings forth life. Because remember, cause and effect. If you plant an unsavory seed, then the harvest will be unsavory. Right? What do you want coming back? What are you calling towards yourself? Choose wisely. That is why Deuteronomy 28 can tell you, today I put before you life and death, but choose life. Right? Choose life. The thoughts that you project outward projects your power outward from you. Like the woman with the issue of blood, when she touched Jesus, he said, "Ooh, I felt virtue leave me." Your essence. So take your power back today by way of mastering your thoughts. And you master them by being able to generate them so that the sensation in your body matches. And you and I both know that as within, so without. And when the sensation and the thought match, then it is only a matter of polarity until the outward expression or experience matches those two things. Because you must be in correspondence. It is law. That's what we do. So walk in that understanding today. Walk in that understanding today. I see you, the better man. I feel like I'm in control of my mind and body. Good. Continue to practice. Because it is a lifestyle. Is it a way? It is a way of living. To have control over one's self. Self-control. You power the self. So, I trust these things make sense this morning to you because they are of the utmost importance. I try and refrain from going into that area, but let me say it to you this way. Remember always that if you are not the one controlling you, then something else will, because it is the nature of the body to be given direction. The body must take direction. And because the body takes direction, if you aren't giving it, somebody is. But who is somebody? Not you. So if it's not you, it's somebody else. I can't name who somebody is because I don't know. Artorius the Great. Welcome to the space. See it and understand it. Who are you giving your power to? And what are you giving your power to? Here's a clue to know that your power is being siphoned from you. If you have been polarized. If you have been polarized, what does that mean? It means if you watch something and you say, oh, these people are stupid, blah, 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 and you have this reaction, you've been polarized. And because you've been polarized, you've just given some power away. And sometimes we wonder why we're tired throughout the day. You think it's just food? Man shall not live by bread alone. It's not just food that we're leaking. We're leaking our very essence. It's like a slow leak because we aren't aware. Be aware of what you are doing, what you are engaging in. Because those things that you are engaging in have a way of, well, siphoning you. And they don't give anything back. Remember to cultivate a lifestyle of mutual benefit. If you're going to be giving love, then make sure you're getting it back. Because if you don't get it back, you are being dried out. You're being just taken from. Remember, the pendulum swings both ways. The law compensates. The measure of the swing to the left is the same as it is to the right. That is telling you that you must have something mutual. That is what it is telling you. Again, if you turn to the law, you will see exactly what to do. What are those laws? Just in case we have forgotten, let me remind you. The all is mind. The universe is a mental creation. As within, so without. As above, so below, everything vibrates between two poles, the swing to and fro, creating a rhythm, an ebb and a flow. Every cause has its effect, and every effect its cause. A projection of the will masculine, giving life, giving form, feminine. Those are the 7 principles of creation, the 7 laws that govern all created things. So if you learn to use them, learn to use them, because there will come a time. It's only obvious that there will come a time that you'll need to use them. So the more you practice, you become like the wise virgins. You are prepared. We think the Bible is not useful, but it has the law in it. The more we practice, the more prepared we become. Prepared for what? Boy Scouts don't ask that question. Boy Scouts are just prepared. They just are. For any situation, so too must we be. So remember, it is a privilege to practice. It is a privilege to look at that unsavory thing you are feeling and go, wait a minute. I've dealt with that for too many years. I don't want to deal with that anymore. Not today, devil. That's what you say. You got to be bold about these things. You do not have to remain in a place of suffering. That's what I'm trying to tell you today. You don't have to remain in a place of suffering at all. And suffering can take on many forms. You don't have to stay there. Employ the law of polarity and you will be given your way out. At all times. But you see us, and it's not our fault, you know. That's why I tell you, don't judge, don't blame. It's not our fault. It is the design of the human. The design of the human is to fight. And it's not even fighting against what needs to be fought. We turn that fight inward and we beat up ourselves. So we don't need a taskmaster to beat us up. We do it ourselves. That's what we do. So when you recognize that you don't have to do that, you not want the pain to stop? Well, then employ the law and the pain abates. And the more you apply the law, the less the pain remains. Because those two things cannot stay in the same place because they are not the same vibration. If you sit and you reminisce about the bad things, what happens to your body? Oh, it confirms what you're thinking because you get a sensation in your body. And then how do you behave? The way your thought and body tell you to, because they have to be in correspondence. Hear this. You see that pain and suffering that we so love to cling to? Not that we cling to it because we want to. It is the design. But if you know the design and you understand it, you will recognize that that vibration has a purpose, as all vibrations do. The vibration will either elevate or it will lower. And the same way we feed energetically. You can listen to a good song and it will uplift you. You've just fed from the energy of that song. So the same way you can feed positively, you can also be fed negatively, and you can also feed something with your negative energy, your negative vibration. So learn to apply the law. When you feel stressed, when you feel agitated, breathe in through the nose, out through the nose. As many times as it takes you to do it, till you begin to feel a sense of relief in the physical body. And now you tell your body what you want it to do. Now you are in control of it. Yes, you have that power, so take it and use it. Take it. It is yours. Why are you afraid of it? You're not supposed to be. That's like being afraid of yourself. You ever seen that video clip of the little girl? She just saw her shadow for the first time and she tried to run away from it. She couldn't have been more than 2 years old. But she saw that shadow and she's like, who is following me? And she just had a breakdown because she couldn't figure it out and she was scared of her own shadow. And we're looking at it and we think it's funny because it's so, right? But that's what we do with our power. We're like, ooh, I don't know. What if I do it wrong? You cannot. Cause and effect alleviates you of that right and wrong. As within, so without is the question. Not right or wrong. Does the inside thought match that sensation in your body? Practice. Practice. And when you practice, as I told you yesterday, think about what you're doing. Is that not a pleasurable thing? To do a happy dance, to say, I don't have to be upset anymore. I don't have to be angry. I don't have to be broke. Come on. Look at what you've been given. It is a privilege and an honor to have it and to use it, as opposed to, this is so hard. I really have to keep track of my thoughts. I really have to stay the course. I don't see it happening or unfolding yet. This is taking too long. Really? Think about that. You've been given the keys to your own freedom. Jingle them and dance. Because you don't have to be in bondage anymore. You take your power back. You can insert freedom for power if you'd like. Either way, it is yours. Take it. I trust that makes sense today. And I just really trust that it does. Oh, Tiffany and Javion, I see you. Right? Allow yourselves to take up your power. And as I said, it is not a power by which we walk and we beat people with. It is a power that we use to lift ourselves up from the muck and the mire so that we too can also help our fellow humans by doing the same to them. Because if you are empowered and they are empowered, do you, in the true sense of the word, do you realize there's no angst in anybody? Oh, but Angela, that would be utopia. Really? Is that not the preference to what we've got now? Polarity and rhythm. All the laws are in full effect. So today, as we go about our day, remember your power and use it. How are you going to use your power? By recognizing if you have an unsavory thought or a sensation in your body, you catch that right away. Don't entertain it. The more you entertain it, you feed it. And the more you feed it, the bigger it gets. Feed me, Seymour. The Little Shop of Horrors. Remember? The more you feed it, the bigger it gets. So what do you want to grow in your life? Then that is what you feed. Or allow the law to feed you. Allow the law to feed you. That way you never get tired. Because those who hunger and thirst shall be filled. To be filled means, something is pouring inside of you. And as we know, as within, so without. Indigo King, I see you. Right? Just practice. It gets easier. Because then you begin to see what you've been doing all of these years. And we call them generational curses, right? That's what we call them. And we see what we've done for years. Now, when you finally stop doing that nonsense, it should make you want to bust a move. It really should. Sonia, what a beautiful question. Here's the question. But if we are born in the image of God, why are we so flawed? Put that G as a small g, my dear Sonia, and everything will make sense to you. If you look at Scripture, yes? And you recognize this phrase, worship me or else. Do what I tell you or I'll cast you down to the pit of hell. Well, that sounds like a bully to me. Why? Because you and I know it's not fun to be told what to do, to be bossed around. You want to be in the presence of someone of your own volition. So the reason why we are so, quote unquote, flawed is because of who made us. It is also flawed. That's why I say small g, not big G. It's just that they could do things that the human could not, and thus we bowed to them and said, "Oh, you must be God." But we forget that they are a God, not the all. There's a difference. That's why I don't even know how I used to reconcile that as a youngster. When you hear about God, well, don't question God. And my son asked me, because grandpa told him, don't question God. And my son said, but how am I supposed to learn if I don't ask questions? My dad looked at me, I looked at my dad, and I said, well, you better answer that question because you told him not to question God. So again, there's the contradiction. Whoever you are made in the image of, your form that is made in the image of that other form, well, that's who we're like. That's why we fight amongst ourselves, because they fought amongst themselves. Who are they, you ask? That's for another day. That is for another day. You see, that's why I love that question. Because it shows you as clear as day that there is something that does not reconcile there. We are only flawed because of who made, because we're made in their image. So if they're flawed, we are. But here's the beauty of the law now, because remember, every created thing is governed by the law. And if you look at what happened with us, we begin to see how they deviated from the law itself. Right? When you look at the laws, it tells you the all is mind. The universe is a mental creation. As within you, so must you be on the outside. So if you plant strife, you can only reap strife. That's what they've done. So you must learn to use those laws because they are using them. Wittingly or unwittingly, is left to be understood, but they're using them nonetheless. Just like we use them every day. I'm gonna, I'll drop some links in the description below in the YouTube video for people like Billy Carson and Eric Von Daniken. They have done all of this research with the Sumerian tablets, the King's List, the Enuma Elish, all of these texts that have been around long before the Bible or any other holy book. But all of these texts have one thing in common: the 7 principles of creation. That is the oldest thing you can find anywhere. Right? So that's why when we say things like we are flawed, you're now giving power away again. Your body might be flawed, but when you know the law and you practice it, you're no longer flawed because you see it for what it is. Does that make sense today? We've run around for so long trying to be perfection when in actuality, the law perfects. It just does. If you notice, the law doesn't punish. It just tells you, I will give you what you are. So you better be the best because then you know what you're getting. And you can use the law good, bad, or indifferent. But for the love of all things, use it for good. Use it for good. Wealthy Supreme Rico, hello. Does that make sense today? Because I know I Funny, because that goes into what that book was about that I was narrating last night about the Anunnaki. But another day, another time. Today, and it fits. Your question does fit, Asonia, because when you take your power back, you don't see yourself as flawed. Because if you see yourself as flawed, that thought has that sensation in your body. Well, what's the point of trying? That's what you feel in your body. And then what do you do in the outside world? That's right. You don't even try because, well, you know what? I'm flawed anyway. So who cares? And that's how you behave. And when we behave like that, we are feeding something. But what are we feeding? The things that like that negative energy. So feed yourself off of the law. Draw your strength from it because you cannot exhaust the law. It is inexhaustible, infatigable. You can't drain it. But if you draw from it, you won't get tired either. See that mutual benefit? This is how you know that you're not being drained, but you're being fed into from that mutual benefit. You can draw from the law all day. Psalm 91. He that dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the All. Secret place, where's that? Your mind. That's where all the secrets are. So we don't have to walk around in shame. We don't have to walk around with any guilt. We don't have to do any of that. They are so burdensome and they drain you. That's your first clue to turn to the all. Whew, I feel tired today. Why? Because you feel guilty. Because you feel regret, shame, all those things. Stop. Allow the law to soothe you like a balm. Allow it to do that. Even if you remember one of those laws, you've remembered them all. And the very fact of being in its presence and speaking the law does something to you in your body. It creates a sensation in your body. When you do that, you do not have to walk around with any burdens. You really don't. You don't have to fret. But month end is coming. If you sit there and look at month end on the scale of polarity, if you look at month end and you fear it, well, the thought of fear, the body responds in fear, you start to panic, and then what? You behave in an unsavory way, and it's usually an unpleasant experience. But if you look at month end and you say, I need this, this, and this, well, bring me that feeling, that sensation of having an abundance. Because I've seen abundance and I experience abundance all day, every day. So let me feel it in my body. And when you feel that abundance, that abundant sensation in your body, hold it there. Because you are polarizing yourself towards abundance. And when you polarize yourself towards abundance, well, as within, so without. You're going to encounter it. But the discipline is to stay polarized in the direction you put yourself in. That is how you take your power back day after day after day. Oh, I'm sweating. I'm just fired up this morning. But I trust that makes sense. So let us go forth this morning and know, KNOW, part of knowledge, know that you have within you what is required for your existence. It is there if you would but rest for a moment. You see, when we get caught up in the chase of a thing, we lose sight of, wait a minute, I don't have to chase this. I can just call it. Yes. You don't have to chase a thing. You see, the chase is what exhausts you. Get, more, more, more. That is exhausting and makes one powerless because you've given the power over to the other thing on the outside. But hold fast to the law. Whichever one that comes to mind first, use it. Use it to take your power back. Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3. Tomorrow is the day for the workshop. Get those questions in. And 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, right here on YouTube. A link will go out today. So, whatever platform you're on that you follow me on, I'll DM you or I'll email it to you, whichever way, so that you can attend. 2, 1. Synovia, you are most welcome. So thank you all for being here. Summer Rose, I didn't see my girl, and I have not seen Yolanda in a bit. Empress Ella, I didn't see her today either, but I'ma still call your name. And birthday girl, Tracy, make sure and enjoy this day to the fullest, because it is a day of freedom for you. That's all I'm going to say. Let me look at my phone for Twitter. Oh, Lord, Twitter is bumping today. Um, Link 52. I've never said your name before. Welcome to the space. Wow. Thank you all for being here, Twitter. Oh, and I'm going to give a shout out to Cuddles. Ah, yes. Yes, Cuddles. I know, because I know you listen. So I'm going to shout you out in my Twitter space. Yeah. Much love, Twitter. Much, much love. And I'll see you tomorrow. And remember, February 1st, nighttime guided meditation returns. We will kick it up a notch, yes? Much love, Twitter. Much love. Oh, and Holly and Brookie. Remember, Angela, to message Brookie and Holly today. Much love, Twitter. Twitter is closed. Fanbase, I see you all. I see you all still here. It's good. Do you have any questions, fanbase? You know, you got to slide into my DMs with those so we can do the workshop tomorrow. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you all. Yes, Zola.
Good morning. I just want to say really quickly, I love your rooms, and I just have a quick statement to make.
Yes.
I noticed you talk about the battle of the mind and the power of that, and I've even heard you say, which is what a lot of other people say about writing things down. Um, you are so right about the mind. That's one thing, not just me, I'm sure a lot of people struggle with is the battle of the mind. And especially when a lot of bad things, negative things that happen in your life, it's a challenge to think of something positive, like kind of like writing a story in your head, a happy ending, because we always try to prepare and think of the worst. And unfortunately, that's how we're taught a lot, even in religion. But um, I just want to say really quickly, I had like an exercise to do it myself, a real life exercise with my mind. And it was with my car. There was a company that repaired my car after someone hit it. And you know how they say if anything goes wrong after they fixed a certain part, you have a lifetime warranty. I'm like, okay. So I have to go back a lot, but a couple of times with small things that they had to repair. And one time when someone hit me, it was a more expensive item like my sensor. And I started thinking negatively in my mind when they told me that this item was on back order the first time. And I was like, back order, that may take a long time. And I said, I was like, let me call every so many months to check to see if it came. And I said, well, maybe I shouldn't do that because it's going to get on their nerve and it's more expensive. And maybe they don't really want to, since they already tried to fix it, now they got to pay and wait. And I said, okay, no, I'm not going to think negative. I'm going to think positive. And then I think it was like either the night before or the morning of, I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and give them a call and check on them to see if that parts came. And even if I am annoying them, which is probably not even the case, I am still going to call because, it's my right. And, the more I call, probably the closer I'll get to getting my part. And it was either the night before or the day of. I called them. I didn't even call them. I just made up in my mind that I was going to call them that next morning. And while I was out taking care of other business, they called me. I actually missed their call, and they left me a voicemail saying they had my part ready and they were going to come pick my car up for me. It was going to take a couple to 3 hours, maybe 4 to do it, but they would pick my car up for me so we would have to stay at the shop all day and bring it back. And they did. Like immediately, almost. It was just almost instant after I made up my mind. I kind of like turned that negative story, that sad ending, into something positive, and just it seemed like it happened like just because of the positive thought process. So I love your room because this is what most people need to hear. And I think the hardest part is believing that if we actually think that our minds have the power to do it, we can see it. And I think the hardest struggle is that we can't see it yet, so we don't believe it.
Oh, Zola, you are so correct. You are absolutely correct because you see that thought, and that's because people are afraid. They think, oh, if I think something here, bam, it's going to happen, right? That thought and the ability to look at the situation and say, how do I want this to go? You see, and that's what I mean when I say we do it naturally. And that's why you got to experience that positive outcome because that was the effect you wanted. But you had to get past the fact that are they going to think I'm annoying? Am I going to be bugging them too much? Are they going to ignore me? Like that's the part, the inner talk. That's it right there. The way we can talk ourselves either in or out of something is definitely the key. And like I say, people are afraid to do it. They think, oh, if I think of a lion, is it going to show up in my room? Uh, no. It doesn't work. It's the sustained thought because that's where you've been polarized the most. It's the most um, frequent thought you have. And the more frequent the thought, the more power there is behind it. Because remember, when you have a thought, just a random thought, depending on your lifestyle, I'll elaborate. When you have a random thought, there's no real magnetism behind that random thought. But if your lifestyle thought is one of, well, everything is always working out for me, it doesn't matter where you go, everything is always going to work out for you because you've spent a lifetime cultivating that way of thinking. Everything always works out for me. You spent, and that thought that everything, it's not even a thought anymore. You just know it. That everything always works out for me. I don't have to fret, I don't have to worry. And because you know it, that has behind it what you call magnetism. It's very powerful because the more you polarize, the stronger the magnetism becomes because that's what happens when things vibrate. The friction creates a magnetism. That's what science is now discovering. So, yes, that's how you develop that attitude. And Zola, Synovia says the caller is speaking truth because it is. So, any situation you can face that you go through, it doesn't matter. Like I told you, for some people, that situation could be a 10 out of 10. But for you, because you practice the law, it's a 3 or a 2 because you know how to apply. You know, what effect do I want? What experience do I want? And once you make up your mind what experience you would like to have, the cause will present itself for you because the cause and the effect are one. Problem and solution are one. Oh, I love it, Zola. Thank you for sharing because most of us do forget we do have that power to always autocorrect. That's why I tell you, you don't have to suffer. You don't have to freak it out. You don't have to do any of those things. Get your mind right. Always get the mind right because the mind, as within, so without. If you understand that what is within you is creating the experience on the outside of you, you would stay polarized until you see the experience you're polarized about. Whereas people say, well, I'm not getting my manifestation, so this must not be working. Why? Because there's a sense of, there's notions. They're unaware of what they're doing. And that's the problem sometimes when we go and we practice all these techniques about manifestation. We just, oh, if I do this, that's going to happen. But the problem is they do not understand the laws. They don't understand the laws so that they can do it consciously and with awareness. Because if you hold that image within you and you polarize yourself there, you know you'll experience it on the outside because all of that thought, remember, it doesn't stay in your mind. It is actually a light wave. Science has shown us this now. And those light waves go out. And the more you polarize, the more agitated they become, meaning they vibrate faster or slower, depending on the thought that follows it. And they go out and they entangle with other light waves that match. And when they come together because they match, they form a cohesive bond, giving shape to something, form, matter. That's what the light waves become. So, no, you're not just thinking a thought. That's why gender is so important. You are projecting, it is masculine to project that thought, that light wave outward. And the more you send it out and the more you sustain it by polarization, it will take form because it has to. And that is why you do not lose hope. You don't give up, but you understand what you are doing and what you are creating. That is what you do. So when things come up, like with Zola, you know, you can sit down and then, I know how this is going to turn out. How do you know how it's going to turn out? Because you decide. But what about the other 8 billion people, Angela? Okay, put your energy out there then. You got to take care of you. And because you take care of you, the exterior will benefit. The same way the exterior can be harmed by way of negative thoughts or negative vibrations, well, then they can be uplifted and edified by way of the positive. Because the law, remember, the pendulum swings. So if it works in one direction, it works in the other. So be encouraged today to know that even if it is your car, if it's your phone, if it's any situation you're facing, the law is the answer. That is your word for today. And I look forward to the workshop. I truly do. I'm excited. And I look forward to seeing you all again in the morning because it is Friday. It's Tracy's birthday month. So we're just going to be bumping around here, Tracy. So I love you all. And we shall connect again. Much love. fan base. Much love. There, fan base is closed. So, YouTube, Walter, hello. Uh, you guys are just awesome, and I love you. Thank you for being here on a daily basis. Remember to share this video with people. Um, yeah, like, share, subscribe, join, whichever. Mutual benefit so that we all grow and expand. That is what we're doing. And I just wanted to leave you with that. Alrighty. I'm looking forward to your emails. Oh, let me drop the email address in the chat in case y'alls are wanting it. Hold tight. There it is. Positivelyangela at shaw.ca. That's where you can email me and I'll respond. Yes? And now let us go forth and embrace our power. Embrace it. Because the moment you acknowledge that you have it, that is your first step to taking it back. That is the first step. And so, Walter Sinovia, Wealthy Supreme, Tracy, Sonia Indigo, Artorius the Great. I love saying your name, Artorius. The Better Man, I see you. Oracle Treehouse, I see you as well. Ray of Sunshine, I think you may have gone already because you got to get to work, but I feel you, baby. Ultra. Oh, Ultra said something to me. I knew you. Yes. Yeah, Ultra. It rocked my world. And the next book they're reading is one I've already narrated as well. So I just thought I sat there and I said, well, ain't that cause and effect, is it? You know, when I saw what happened yesterday. Hmm. It was beautiful, I tell you, absolutely beautiful. And I really marvel. I sat in awe of the law. Yeah. Because sometimes, like I tell you, that reverence, when you see what you've done, all you can do is sit there in the silence and go, I really did that. I used the law and it worked. What? All you do is shake your head. And David, I see you. A not. Miss Sonia. Anywho, thank you all for being here yet again on such a beautiful day. And I will see you again. Much love, everybody. Much love.